In the disappeared world, 3 memories that made life stop. 3 moments when life holds me. People say that they overcome several major crises in their lives. Some call them turning points in life, while others call them fate. I have 3 memories that I never want to experience again. Those moments when my connection with the world was cut off, when my very existence was shaken. Today, I will tell you about them. Trapped in the pitch-black darkness, I screamed and screamed in fear, asking someone to take me out of here. The place I was trapped in was like a dark drop. First, a world where light disappeared. I was 8 or 9 years old. I was walking down a street in the middle of the day. The sun was bright, and the world was ordinary. Then suddenly, everything stopped. Sounds, colors, and people disappeared. As if I was trapped in a black drop. I was cut off from the world. I felt like I could reach out and touch it, but I couldn't. And my feet were on the ground, but I wasn't there. I tried to run away from it. I crawled into a corner of the floor, and at that moment, someone outside my thoughts hugged me. Even at that moment, I was trembling with fear and shouted in the darkness that I could unreach no matter how much I stretched out my hand, asking to be taken out. However, in reality, my mother and sister tried to wake me up, asking me to come to my senses, but I just kept repeating, "Mom doesn't know, Dad doesn't know." That moment cannot be explained scientifically or verbally. I still remember that memory so clearly. I had another similar experience after that. One day in my early 20s, while crossing a rice field after the harvest was over, in that open field, I saw the darkness closing in on me again. And I fell into that darkness again. I realized the fear in that childhood memory that I thought I had forgotten, and I tried hard to escape from there. It was so scary and horrible. After all the effort I put into trying to escape from that moment, I came back to reality and ran straight to where the people were. I was afraid that the atmosphere would swallow me up. I still remember that indescribable moment, and to this day, I have never once spoken out loud about that feeling, the fear, the sense of being cut off from the world. Second, the engine stopped on the rainy sea. The small boat carrying us seemed to be pushed endlessly by the waves. Early 2008, we went out on a boat from King Salmon Marine near Seattle. I and a few of the store employees. It was around 3 p.m., a perfect day for fishing. Enjoying a leisurely afternoon on the sea with the sun slightly hiding between the clouds, but the weather betrayed us. The sky began to darken, and raindrops began to fall on the dark blue sea little by little. We decided to go back after 2 hours out on the sea, feeling the rain getting rougher. The moment we turned the steering wheel and changed direction, the engine belt of the ship suddenly broke. The ship quietly but relentlessly pushed forward. We looked around in confusion, but there was no ship around us. The current began to sway as if it were going to swallow us up. That day, the current was flowing toward the Pacific Ocean. The waves were rough, the water was swirling, and the ship was moving further and further away from the land. At that time, smartphones were not as popular as they are now. We happened to have a flip phone with a cover, but unfortunately, the battery of the phone was flashing red. While we were fighting each other and not knowing what to do, we happened to find a business card in a box of fishing gear. Before the phone completely died, we decided to call the owner of the business card, and we called him on Sunday evening, begging him to please answer the phone. He was a friend we had met by chance at the dock, and he had a nice boat. As if the heavens were helping, he picked up the phone before the bell rang and said he would come right away. He came to our rescue after being washed ashore near Mukilteo in an hour and a half through the rain. I still vividly remember that time, when we were barely able to tie our boat to his boat and on our way back, worrying that the rope that tied us to his boat might break and that the boat might capsize in the rough seas and waves that blew in the opposite direction. As we headed toward a dock that could anchor for less than 10 days, the third bang on the freeway. It was probably on the 355 freeway, which runs north and south on the west side of Chicago, in 2016. It was Sunday, the day of the Super Bowl. The whole of America was in the heat of the Super Bowl. The place I lived was also deserted. All the men in the house went out to watch the game with their friends and enjoy the day to the fullest. So only the women were left at home. We promised not to miss this opportunity and spend the day having a fun barbecue party for the women while our friends, husbands, and sons were out. I also left home to go to that barbecue party. The night before, when I got off work, my co-worker's car ran out of gas. So I jump-started his car with my car. But who would have guessed that it was late on Saturday night, and everyone was tired and just wanted to get home quickly. When my coworker started his car, he apologized and thanked me, and we parted ways. I should have made sure the engine cover was properly locked, but I just pressed it hard and didn't realize it wasn't locked. The drive home from work was only about 30 miles at that speed, so there was no problem. The problem occurred the next day. I got on the 355 freeway on time for my appointment. My car at that time was a Lincoln Town Car Signature, a pretty big car. After moving from the far right lane to the middle lane and starting to speed up for about 5 minutes, suddenly there was a bang, and my vision went dark. The hood of the car opened at 60 miles. At that moment, when I couldn't see anything ahead, I gripped the steering wheel tightly, wondering where I got such quickness. I took my foot off the gas pedal, slowed down, checked the small hole in front to see if there was any car ahead, and carefully pulled out to the right while looking around with the side mirror. I was so shocked that I called 911 with shaking hands. They asked me about my condition because they were calling an emergency call. Fortunately, the person who found out that there were no casualties and that it did not lead to a major accident just told me to wait and hung up the phone, saying that he would send someone soon. 30 minutes later, a police officer arrived. The police officer who arrived also looked at me once and then at the open hood of the car, saying that he could understand why the hood was open and that it was a life saved by heaven. He barely closed the hood, checked it several times, and left. I also headed to the meeting place with my friends, and my friends were so shocked when they saw my car that they thought they would faint and said that I should go to the hospital right away and get checked out, which was even more chaotic than I was. That night, at the urging of my friends that I should have a drink at times like this, I drank soju. I usually don't, and only later realized that my whole body was sore as if I had relaxed. Whenever I think of these 3 moments, I feel like life is holding me with one hand. The accidents back then, and now that I am still alive, that fact keeps me moving forward even today. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a little bit of a different video. I'm going to be sharing 3 moments when life held me. So let's just get into it. The first moment was when I was in primary school. I think I was in year 3 or 4, and we had these big school camps. And I remember that I was really homesick and I really wanted to go home. But all the other kids were going off on these cool trips, and I couldn't go with them because I didn't know where my mom was. I was looking around trying to find her so I could tell her I wanted to go home. And I remember standing at the top of this set of stairs just crying. And when I looked down the stairs, I saw a sea of legs and I couldn't see my mom anywhere. I felt so alone and I felt like no one cared about me. That was really scary and something that I never want to experience again. The second moment was when I was about 12 years old, and I was at a friend's house and her dad was taking us all out to this lake that was nearby, and we were going to have this big feast and it was going to be really fun. And I remember that I got really bad motion sickness on the way there, and I was throwing up everywhere. I was so embarrassed because all of my friends were there and they were getting scared because I was turning green, and I was like, I don't feel very good. And then I just ran out of the car and I started throwing up on the side of the road. I was so scared that I wasn't going to make it. But luckily I did, and I had a really good time after that. But yeah, that was really scary and something that I don't want to experience again. And the third thing was when I went to this water park with my family when I was 16, and I remember that I got separated from my family and I couldn't find them anywhere. I was looking around trying to find them, and I started to get really scared. I didn't know where anyone was. I didn't have a phone. It was really hot outside, and I was starting to get really overwhelmed. And I remember sitting down on one of the benches just crying because I didn't know where my family was. I still don't know how I got separated from them. And yeah, that was really scary. And is something that I never want to happen again. So yeah, those are 3 moments when life held me. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next week. Bye.